Hi there and welcome. This is Roger at SwiftCloud. In this quick video, I want to show you how to use the landing page system. Now, before we do, first let's take a look at why use a landing page. So landing pages are purposely designed typically for lead capture, and they are designed to increase your leads. And they sort of work more like a salesperson instead of wandering into a store. So your website, you could think of that as a store in which there are many different things available, and you can learn about the store and get a sense for the overall, like, what does this company do, and it's great for trust. So you need to have a website if you're an online business, but you also need landing pages in which you're making a specific offer. So once somebody has sort of raised their hand and said, I'm interested in this particular idea, this headline, this offer, this bait, this free report, this this free consultation, whatever it is that's causing them, I'm interested in this thing, then you want to, at that point, maximize the conversion and minimize the clutter and minimize the options for them to get distracted. And so that's when a website is not the right tool for the job, right? So websites are great for customers at the beginning who are, let's say, in a space of help me trust you, and they want to wander around and they want to look at your case studies and they want to look at your About Us page. If anybody's on your About Us page, they're in the headspace of help me trust you, right? But if they're on your landing page, it means they wanted some headline that brought them there. So these are designed to be used with pay-per-click advertising, with any kind of outbound media, without any kind of interruption media, right? They're typically not going to rank well for search engine optimization. There's just no way around it because they tend to be thin content and they tend to be super focused on a specific offer. Whereas Google wants to sort of shotgun out information that is likely to serve their customer intent. So what you can do is you could use an article, for example, to get them to your website, and then once they're on your website, if you're using search engine optimization, you use the long form article, and then at the end, within that article, you make a specific offer, right? Get our free report, 7 steps to X, or one common mistake, or how this one weird food will cause you to lose weight, whatever. I'm sure you've seen these clickbait headlines before. Nonetheless, landing pages are purposely designed for that, and I want you to understand how they fit into your marketing suite overall and why you're using them. And so they are typically for a specific offer and a specific outcome. So let's dive into all of that. That was kind of a long intro, but it's important to know why you're even doing a landing page and what you're going to do with it. So the very first thing you want to do is you need to, of course, have an account for this to work. So if you don't have an account, go to SwiftCRM.com, just like you see, and look around the website and look for our marketing and something like that. Just click Get Started. No matter what, it's going to charge you. I think you can start for $1. And in most cases, that is quantity limited. So you can't just sign up for $1 and then get 10,000 leads and then quit. We do quantity limit these things just to, the goal is so that you can try it out and verify that it's going to work for you, but just be advised, right? I want people to know up front. Once you have an account, then go ahead and it'll bring you to crm.swiftcrm.com. Go ahead and get logged in. In my case, I'm just going to log in with Google. And just for the speed of this demo, I'm going to go over here to another browser, in which case I've got the help account. So getting back to the landing page, this is an example of a very simple, well-tuned landing page. It's very simple. It's tried and true, and it's deceptively simple looking. It's really just got some sort of large headline of here's what they're going to get. Here's some more information about that, and then here is your next step. It's just crystal clear. There's nothing else to do. Notice there's no navigation here. There's nothing else for me to really click down here. It's purposely tuned for them to either give up their information and take the next step in the sale or to leave, right? Those are really their only two options, to hit back on their browser, something like that. And so this is also why you'd want to use it for things like paid traffic, but tied to a headline, right? Get a free demo, get this free report, something like that. Now, we've got a couple different templates, and I'll show you that, but this is kind of a lot of them follow this basic format because it is a very high-performing format, and our goal is to make it incredibly simple so you can test a lot of different offers and a lot of ideas, because that is ultimately what's going to make you successful, is really killer offers and really killer headlines and tied to an aligned traffic source, right? So people that are interested in whatever it is that you're selling get that in front and get the compelling offer to the right eyeballs. Really, that's it. Just focus on that one thing. So there are other landing page systems out there. They're much more, let's say, powerful, but they're also much more complicated and much more expensive. And especially at the beginning, you don't need any of those things. And at the end of the day, 80% of this race is won by, frankly, your headline and your offer, and then this graphic or this image. So let's dive into the back end. So like WordPress, SwiftCloud, and like any other web editor, right, there's a back end and a front end. And the front end is what is publicly accessible to anybody, right, to the public. If you choose, you could technically put a password on there or something like that if you wanted to, but generally this is public, right? You want to push some traffic to it. This, however, on the back end, this is just for you. So I'm sort of jumping ahead of myself. Let's start at the very top. If we go to the very top left, you'll get to the logged in homepage, and the logged in homepage looks a bit like a feed. When it eventually loads, it's being a little slow today. We'll do some speed optimization after this. Okay, there we go. And once that comes through, then in the very top left, you'll see what looks like 3 dinner plates. Go ahead and click that and click on Drive. That's going to bring you to your main Drive page, and it's going to just be a list of files. At the very top, so this is looks a little wonky because I have it in sort of in between. That's sort of like a tablet or something, but obviously you can see it adjust to the screen. So anyway, what I can do is click Add New. And in this case, let's just skip all of these different assets that we have that's outside the scope of this video. We want to instead focus on just landing pages. So we can go under Video Pages, we go to Video Landing Page. It's going to ask you to give it a title. We'll call it 7 Steps to 700 Plus Credit. I'm just making this up on the fly, and we click that, and it's going to bring you to a page that looks like this. So in this case, I'm just skipping ahead. So here you can see that you have a representation of what the landing page looks like on the front end. We also have the ability to edit anything you want. Now, we've given you a starting place headline, but of course that headline can and should be whatever you want it to be. So you also have a couple different modes, and I'm going to go through that here on this video. So here we have also some tips on frameworks in terms of copywriting, and these are just really copywriting tests. But you can create, using that tool back on the Drive page, you can create as many landing pages as you want. And so let's actually start at the top and kind of take this section by section. So at the very top, we have, of course, the main headline, right? So learn the 3 critical steps to, learn the 7 steps, we'll say 7 steps to 700 plus credit score in months, not years, right? Something like that. It's just, we've given you a great, how to get X without Y. That's a great recipe. Or how to get, your wildest dream in as few steps as possible. That's really what people want. So next, in this section, throughout the application, you'll see this little pen icon. It's like a little pen. That means the section is editable. So in this case, if I wanted to, I could go here and I could change the background. And what'll happen is I'll change it to some sort of reddish. And it should show you back here. I guess it's not right now. We'll have to get that touched up. But it is working on the front end. And I can also change the button, right? So we'll just change this to something like Learn More. And if I wanted to, I could change the actual button color to whatever. You can see that kind of changing. I'm going to leave it as is for now. And I just hit this little plus when I'm done. So, and then it just snaps back into place. We do have 3 different modes. We have a scheduler, and in which case you need to have a scheduler. So if you don't have a scheduler and you want people to create an appointment with you, then this is another way that the scheduler can work with your system. And I'll touch on that in a second. We also have e-commerce items. Now this is typically used for a funnel. I'll take a deeper dive into this in a moment. For now, let's just focus on forms. So you do have, right now, we have it purposely tuned to as few fields as possible. So if you wanted to, even take away the phone, like if you're not going to call these people, then take away the phone, because the fewer fields you have, the higher your opt-in rate will be. So if you do have the phone, like if you're intending to call these people, then by all means ask for it. So I'll just leave it on for now. Notice I also have a pen over the image, and that's because I can change it to a video if I want, and the video can come either from YouTube or from SwiftCloud. Now, there are advantages and disadvantages to each of these. So YouTube is great in that it plays on every device. They have highly sophisticated streaming algorithms. There are also some huge, really substantial benefits to being in part of the community, because at the end of the day, YouTube is the second most searched search engine behind Google itself, and people forget that it is actually a search engine. People go there. And if you have a popular video that has been seen many times, that's going to increase your ranking. And so there are advantages to using a YouTube video. There are also disadvantages. The disadvantages is you are signaling to Google, anybody who watches that video, then Google starts to always be mining the data. And because it's a free platform, as they say, if you don't pay for the product, then you are the product. That means that they are selling your data. Well, who do you think they're selling it to? Potentially competitors. And that's when you'd want to use a SwiftCloud ad. A SwiftCloud video. So you'd actually want to put the video onto SwiftCloud itself. And if you click that, you can either upload it here, you can also choose from your library, and you can do that from the main Drive page. You've got a couple different options. So in this case, it went to SwiftCloud. It's looking for this video, which doesn't exist. But if I set that back to YouTube, then and I just click this little plus, then it'll go back there. So just to show you, generally speaking, if you don't know better, if you don't have a strong opinion about this, use YouTube. Just grab some, because initially I want it to be really easy for you. So if you just go to youtube.com/upload, in fact, let me show you this URL right here, youtube.com/upload, and you are signed in, then it's going to immediately bring you to the uploader. And then once you have that file, you can use that. So in my case, I want to just grab any video. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, just the ending right here, and I'm going to put it into this space right here, just like so. That's all you got to do. Hit that little plus, and it's good to go. So everything's ready. So now all I need to do is hit save and preview, and the landing page is done. Now, there are definitely more controls that we can do. So let's go ahead and do that. And what we'll do is we'll take a few more steps. So next thing I want you to draw your attention to, so this is working. If you've chosen a headline, you've chosen a subheadline, and you've put in a video, you now have a working landing page. And put in some text here, it doesn't matter what. It could literally even be just a space. So down here, I want to show you how to customize your URL, which is just click the thing that says custom URL. And on the left side, you'll see the opportunity to use a mapped domain. You can map something like secure.yourwebsite.com to our servers. And for electronic signature, that kind of thing, it has to be on a server we control. Now, for landing pages, you just have to point it to our servers and say, hey, go get the landing page over there. So typically, you could do something like try or secure or learn more or resources or something like that. You see this all the time. So in this case, I'm going to leave it as the default. And what I'll do is change just the ending to 7 steps. Just because of internal coding, we don't allow any digits here. And so it needs to be all spelled out, but that's fine. So I change it here. This is going to show you, just reassure you that the URL is available. This URL, this portion of the URL has to be unique to you. So you can't have another page that's of course called the same thing. Otherwise we don't know which one to serve. So it has to be, that's why we have this little green check letting me know that that URL is available. So I can then hit save. And again, I can hit preview down here. I can also hit preview up here. Both of them do the same thing, and there's another even preview link right in the beige box right down here, if needed. You've got a couple different options. If you need some help getting this embedded with connected to your website, you've got some options. And but generally speaking, people just copy this, send that to their web designer, or embed that in their link and their marketing, and you're really good to go at that point. You're 100% ready to use it. Let's add a few more options to it. So we need to make a decision. Once somebody fills out this form and then they click this button, what do we want to happen, right? So I hit save. Let's go ahead and reload this. This is the webinar that says learn more, right? And so notice that it was showing more videos, and that is specific to the viewer. So whatever I'm seeing is not going to be whatever you're seeing. So nonetheless, anyway, once I click this button and I fill out this form, what do we want to happen? We want to dump them on some other page, and ideally taking the next step into buying your service or product. So in that, we need to make that decision right here. So right there in the pink box where it says for them, user experience, we want to, in all cases, regardless of form contents, for now, do not use this. That's just much more advanced. You can use, basically can do conditional logic, right? And so Typically that's used for, let's say, electronic signature documents, like, okay, it's like the parents' class versus the kids' class for karate school, something like that. You can make decisions based on what people answer. In this case, it doesn't really apply to landing pages, so we're going to leave it as in all cases, regardless of form contents. And if you just read this, it should make sense. And if it does not make sense, then you've got a problem. So the user will, in all cases, regardless of form contents, get forwarded to another URL, such as a thank you on your website, and specifically SwiftCRM.com. Now, right now, that's what's going to happen. So if I fill out this form, I'm just going to get dumped on SwiftCRM.com. That's not particularly useful. So instead, what we could do is change that to, let's say, another document where, okay, great. So if you were in business financing, you could ask them to say, you could send a confirmation at the top, make another page that says, great, we've got you. We're excited to working with you. Next, please give us your bank statement so we can learn even more about your situation. What you're doing is you're asking them to take the next step in the sale, right? And so you want to get them as deep into the sale as possible, because even with your best efforts, some people are going to go all the way through to the end, and some people are going to bail. They're going to be like, oh, I don't have my taxes. I don't have my bank statements. That's not convenient, or I don't feel comfortable with this. Just get me options. And so what you can do is nonetheless design the sequence for them, and then what you can do is set up a sequence. So notice we've got two options here. So let me go through this one. Let's take the next step. So first, what you want to give some thought to is your sales funnel. So now we're getting kind of into the more advanced topics, and we're going to get into funnel design. And basically, I want it to be simple enough so that you can get through this, but you also need to give some thought to what are the steps for your sale. So your step at the beginning is something typically a lead generation funnel. Let's say in the case of business funding would be first just give up your name and email. It might be your name, email, and phone. Just basic information, and it's just designed really to capture them, to kind of start a relationship. Next, what you want them to do is to qualify them. Does this person actually qualify? Okay, great. How much do they make? We need to get their bank statements. We need to learn a little bit about their business. What type of business do we have? So what that looks like mechanically is at the beginning, you have a landing page that's very simple. The second page is designed to deepen the engagement, and actually that might be like a short form application. It could even be a long form application if you think these people are serious. So in a perfect world, you would make a short form landing page that spits them into a medium form or a short form application. And if they fill that information out, then you spit them onto the long form, which would include their bank statement upload and everything. And by doing so, you could get the people who are highly motivated and see the benefit. They might take all of the steps all at once in a purely automated fashion because they're tight for money, right? So in the case of the business financing and merchant cash advance, that kind of thing, if they need money by Friday and it's Tuesday already, they had better take those steps really fast, right? So I know that it's possible to fund people in hours and get that money out pretty quickly, but nonetheless, that's a pretty tight deadline. And so what you want to do is just design ideally that funnel, and then ideally we set up some reminders to advance people through the next stage of that funnel. So you can also do the same thing with sales. And getting back to this this mode, you've got a couple options. So there's really three. You've got two different types of landing pages. You've got just a single sale mode, and then you have sales funnel mode. And the difference is, do we add this to the cart and then offer them to wait until they either accept or decline an upsell? So this is getting more advanced and more complicated, but there's no way around it. But what you're really doing is emulating a salesperson. A good salesperson will offer you, let's say, an attractive, easy to digest, easy to understand offer that's called a tripwire offer, and you see this a lot with like, get our free book, just pay for shipping and handling. They just want you to get out your wallet and have to pay something. Even if they lose money on the book, they know as soon as you put that information in, and it's like, get our free book, right? Get the book totally free, pay just for shipping and handling, right? That way they get all the benefits of making some free offer and yet still getting you to get out their credit card so that they can then go for the upsell. So once they do that at the beginning, the tripwire offer, which is like $1 to $7 or $1 to $20, it depends on your industry, then you want to advance them to the next level of the sale, in which case they're going from typically, let's say, $27 to $97, somewhere in that range, or it might be $27 to $197, right? And so if you sell coaching, your tripwire offer could be a $50 offer, and then your next level up might be a magnitude of that. Let's say it's $197 to $997, something like that. That's the next step in your sales funnel, advancing your ladder and sort of advancing your value to them. And then the third step might be, let's say, the $2,000 boot camp or the $10,000 per in-person coaching contract that's spread over a year. It could be the $20,000 private island getaway. Whatever it is that you sell, you get an idea on how it's typically you're advancing them up this kind of stair-stepping them up this value ladder, right? So you want to start with some low, easy to digest, easy to understand, high value offers, and just to get them engaged, and start them with that tripwire offer, and then get them into a higher value offer. That's typically where you start to actually turn the offer black, and by doing so, you can make something called self-liquidating leads, in which case the cost of your advertising is recouped through the tripwire offer and at least your secondary offer. And if you can, and then the third offer, the second offer and third offer and fourth offer, those are all gravy, and at that point you've built your list for free and you're getting paid, right? So this is kind of a holy grail of marketing. So nonetheless, that was a lot of information to just throw at you. You have these different options right here, and it's kind of buried, and that's sort of intentional because it's a bit of an advanced topic. So what you could do is you could have direct sale page. What that means is they check out and we charge the card right then and there. We also have then sales funnel mode. You could think of it as the beginning of a sales funnel, the middle of a sales funnel, and the end of a sales funnel. It really comes down to like, when do we charge them, right? So page with upsell, what we do is we add them to the cart, add the item to the cart, but we wait until they accept or decline to actually charge the card, because what we're hoping is that they're going to buy the upsell. And so they buy let's say that they click $7, and then they add that to the cart, and then it becomes, they also click add to the cart, hopefully on the upsell, which is, let's say, $97. So now your total cart value is $106. And so we need to wait until they've accepted or declined that second page in order to charge them. So this first page is just like, charge them now, end of story. Great, you get them in, and if you wanted to use that mode and have multiple credit card charges, you could. We don't store the card in that way. So the other variable is like, do we have the card on file for that person? So in this case, we have a page with upsell. That's if we're going to offer them, but you can't start with that because we don't have the credit card form on it. So later, I think what we'll do is we'll automate this to like, do we know the card or not? If we already have a card on file for them, we just hide that form and just make it really easy that they just have to click a certain button. So we're getting there. We're not yet coded, and so therefore you have to think about which of these pages you want to use. So direct sale page is going to have the credit card form, and we're going to charge them right then. Page with upsell is going to add it to the cart, but it's going to wait to charge them. So, but it will have the actual credit card form. These last two, we will not have the credit card form, and so what we want to do is this would be typically a middle page where they can add something to the cart, or at the bottom of the page they can decline, in which case we just have the original item in the cart, and then, but either way we charge them now, right? And then in this case we have charge them later. So we're going to simplify all this. That was a lot of information, but if any of that makes sense to you, then we're happy to help, right? And so you can use this system and build a complete sales funnel. And you can even have any number of pages in that funnel. So if you wanted to build a 7-step sales funnel, you certainly could. It's not recommended. Generally speaking, you want no more than 3 pages, although you can. Some of the marketers, Russell Brunson among them, have done little check boxes for extra add-ons, and by doing so, you can have something like 6 offers throughout the funnel. Okay, so back to lead generation. If you're into generating leads, then you've really got 2 major types, right? Which one is just the form capture that looks like this, which you saw, and then there's the scheduler. So let me quickly demo the scheduler and show you how to make it. And then what we'll do is we'll go back to the back end. So what you want to do is go to your main drive page and make sure that you have a scheduler. You must have a scheduler in order for this system to work. And so in this case, I already have one, so I'll just show you. But what you need to do in order to do that is just go here, go to add new, and you go create a new scheduler. Now the scheduler is for a person or an asset. An asset could be like a boat for boat rental. It could be things like a cabin rental. It could be a table at a specific table at a restaurant, or let's say the restaurant as a whole and then make it that ticketed. That's a possibility. It could also be a person. So if you run a hair salon, then it could be a certain specific stylist, or it could just be your chairs in general, like chair number 3. However you want to handle it is up to you. So in sales mode, that's typically for you, right? So if your goal is lead generation, you want somebody to set an appointment with you. So when you offer that, we have separate video trainings for schedulers. So you just have to create the scheduler. From there on out, make sure we'll pick it up with a different video and a different training. So in this case, we already have, once you have that, then you can reload this page and make sure that your scheduler is selected, because that's the calendar that the appointment is going to go into. So getting back to this, so we'll click save, and what we'll do is we'll reload this page, and we will see the scheduler. So here it's just got a date, and I want 12 noon. It's going to immediately go into the form. So it's very simple, it's very fast, it's very easy to use. And right now, the system, as of February 2021, the scheduler is blind. And what I mean by that is it could create overlapping schedules. So this whole system, the scheduler system, is still in beta as of February 2021. We are on track for probably March, April of 2021 that this system should be fully out there and capable of collision avoidance, what I would call it, meaning it won't create an overlapping appointment. Okay, getting back to the landing page, let's go through just a few more options and then we can be done with this. So in the pink box, you do have another option, which is to get added to a sequence or get removed from a sequence. So getting removed from a sequence is incredibly powerful for creating a customer journey. That's part of a larger module called SwiftCloud Shepherd, in which you're guiding a flock of people, aka sheep in that analogy, to a desired outcome. Well, once they've taken the step that you want to make sure and remove them from the old sequence. So if you have a leads list, then as soon as they've, let's say, set an appointment with you or taken the next step in the sale, you want to remove them from the leads list and move them to, let's say, the hot leads list, or move them to the buyers list or something like that. So you can, through our automation, you can remove them from one list and add them to another. That's also useful for things like invoices. Like when you create a new invoice, you want to, of course, add them to a sequence called pay your invoice. And as soon as they've paid that invoice, you want to remove them so that you stop bugging them. So this getting added to a sequence, you just have to make sure and select which sequence you have. And again, from there, from the main drive, you just go here, click new sequence, and we have separate training about that. So this is just points of integration. SwiftCloud is incredibly powerful, and we've been really working and sort of flying under the radar because we've been building this giant suite of products, not just a single product, because we believe at the end, that's ultimately what people need, is they need one suite where it's all tied together. Otherwise, you end up with all this work trying to glue software together and trying to hook up APIs and stuff like that. You can stack multiple things together just by clicking this this plus right here. So if you wanted to, you could remove them from a sequence, for example, and then also add them to a sequence, right? So that would be, remove them from that's how you do that. We got the same basic idea in the blue box. Now in the blue box, you do have an option for where do you want them to go. Right now, as of today, on 19th of February, it shows only incoming, but this will offer you a chance to dump them into, let's say, a leads folder or something like that. That's only if somebody's done, in this case, PDFs or stored their information, but we have it set that way in case they're uploading information, uploading files, right? So typically, like in the case of back to this business financing world, they might be uploading documents, in which case you want to put them into the, let's say, hot leads because they haven't yet committed, and then you have a different folder for active deals. And all of that, of course, can be on your main drive. You can create a folder anytime. Just go here. A folder is an unshared workroom. A workroom is just a shared cloud shared folder. So you can share that between multiple people. So getting back to it, anyway, same thing. If you wanted to add more automation, you can click that little plus and it'll think for a second. It'll give you an option. You could email to somebody else and just put in their email here. So if you wanted to email multiple people, and if you wanted to create landing pages that were specific to a sales rep, then this is how you would do that. So as it stands, this is basically the information is going to get dumped into my incoming folder. It's going to email me, and then it's going to email also john@doe.com, right? So in this case, let's say John Doe is this sales affiliate. I want him to get a copy of whatever happens here or whatever the appointment scheduling, that kind of thing. Then I could set that up here. And if I wanted to, I could even remove myself. What I could do is just change this to email to, and then just delete this one, and email just john@doe.com. And then I don't need to be involved, right? And so if I've got a team of people and it's like I don't need to be involved on every little detail when they're still making the sale, I can thus set up assets for my team without them having a SwiftCloud account, and that's fine by us. We want this to be flexible for you. So that is it for the blue box. Let's take a quick look at this. This is also where you have a couple different options. Over time, we will grow this a little bit, but that's not a huge focus right now for the landing pages. And the reason is because we want you to focus on the headlines and the offer and the basic graphic. Like, you don't need that many styles of landing pages to be very effective. What you really need are great headlines, great graphics, and great videos, because these days video is more powerful than ever. People are just busy, and they're lazy, and they're distracted, and it's like, we say that in the most loving and best of terms. It's just that these days in our modern life, there's a lot coming at our attention, and so video is frequently the best way to get in front of those people. And if you can make us sit back, people will pay attention to 90 seconds of video much more readily than they'll read 90 seconds of text. And so we encourage you to use video, and that's why it's tuned to this. This featured image, that's what's going to show on your social media. So if you use a video, make sure you can still put an image here, because that's what's going to show on Facebook. If you then post this, in this case, I have a video up here, but an image down here, the image is what's going to show on social media. So comments, that's not really applicable. Language, that of course just really affects the buttons, that kind of thing. You do have some privacy options. Tags is actually quite useful. So you could say this is, MCA lead, right? Lead gen, right? Something like that. That's just for you. And it's helpful to, on the back end, on the drive, it'll show you, and then that way you could just search for MCA, and then it'll show you all the assets tied to MCA as compared to, let's say, business credit. You can use whatever tags you want, and you can have multiple tags. All you have to do is just type something in, and just type in whatever, and then hit tab if you're on a PC or Mac or whatever. Print option, that's not really going to apply to landing pages, and that's it. I also want to draw your attention down here. You've got an option, save a copy and clone as a template. So clone as a template just saves into your folders. It really doesn't do much yet. We have a growing, well, it's powerful, but it doesn't apply to landing pages. Is really what we should do is hide this option if it's a landing page. It works well for like eDocs and stuff like that, but for landing pages, it's not applicable. Save a copy, on the other hand, is very powerful. It's going to ask you, okay, what do you want to save? So let's say you wanted to make a landing page for each of your sales reps. Make first just the first one, get it 100% approved, make sure you're totally happy so that you don't have to go make a bunch of changes, and then just save a copy for each one, change the blue box, and you're good to go. It should be that simple. You have to change the blue box notification rules, right? And who's going to get a copy of that document. And then what you could do is put all those in a folder, and it'd be nice and organized and easy for you to manage. So keep in mind, though, if you make some changes to the headline for that one, it's not going to reflect in the other, because at that point, these are all separate clones. Okay, so hopefully that information has helped you. I've fire-hosed you with a lot of information. If you still have any questions about the landing pages specifically, then reach out to us. I'll update the training for this. I want this to be awesome and make sure that you get your questions answered. Thanks. Enjoy. Welcome.